boy, we're at it again. Okay, so, oh my god. Excuse my yawning. Okay, so we're just gonna continue where we left off from last night, or last video, or however you want to look at it. I've just entered the I forget the actual name, the chapel? I don't know. This is one of my favorite areas of the game. I just love the map design of it. It's very it's all very vertically oriented, and it's just really neat, and it's also got some really obnoxious enemies, so it's like the best of both worlds. I don't know. So I guess what? Recap. What did we do last video? We went through basically the beginning of Dracula's castle. We went through the main entrance. We went through the alchemy lab, the marble gallery, and the outer wall, and part of the library. About, well, give or take about 2/3 the library, because there's not a whole lot left to it. But it's just I can't get to everything in it. So now we're here. Again, like I said, this is one of my favorite parts of the game. Actually, I just love the aesthetic of it. It's just, I don't know, it's just sort of like weirdly, I don't know, it's just weirdly out of place. Well, it's, I guess, kind of out of place, because it seems like a very pious and holy, locale of the castle, and except it's Dracula's castle, and he's sort of like the Antichrist. So it's kind of neat, I guess, that it's here, but we have the spectral sword. This is kind of a neat enemy. I like him anyway, or it, I should say. There we go. Trying to think. Save room? No. There's not a save room around here. Yes, there is. Right through here. God. Remember a lot of the layout of this castle, but sometimes I get a little confused. And this is not a save room. This is definitely not a save room. I know what this is. But this is really neat. This is I think last video I kind of talked about the fact that the game is just full of weird little like Easter eggs and like single-use enemies that only show up in one spot and they do one thing, but they got a really funny animation. Well, this game's got whole rooms like that too, and in this case we have what looks to be a confessional booth. So I'm gonna sit here because you can actually do that. Alucard's a pretty spiffy guy. He can sit down in chairs.
Soul here. May the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost be with you.
I'll be damned. That's really cool. That is new. I think. I don't remember that being a thing in the original release. I don't remember there being voice acting involved. So that's really cool. Yeah, so like that's a one-time deal. It's just there because somebody, I guess on the design team, thought it was neat. So I gotta give him credit where credit is due. That's pretty cool. But what happens if I play as the priest? Let's see. Oh. Yep. Yeah, so that's just kind of a neat little, I don't even know if you'd really call it an Easter egg, really. It's just a neat little thing you can do in the game. Again, there's a few other things in here that are like that, and as I come across them, I'll hopefully be able to point them out and be like, hey, look. It's not a complete waste of time to get that, but now, in case anybody's actually kind of curious at this point, if you're watching and you're thinking, okay, so what's the deal? What's the plan? What are we doing? Right now, not a whole lot at the moment. I'm just gonna be getting through the chapel today. This might end up being a little bit shorter than my last video. Last video ended up being almost an hour long. I don't know how I managed that. I was aiming for 45 minutes as a kind of way of gauging where I was at mentally on that one. I wanted 45 minutes and I got like 59 something. So wait, oh no, oh my god. Okay, we might need that right now. Give me that pot roast. Give me that grape juice. I give him my night shield. God, this is so weird. I'm still, you know, kind of like I mentioned. I believe I mentioned, or at least brought attention to it last night. I never use the knuckle items, the fists and stuff. I've never really used them in this game or any of the Castlevania games that I can think of. Yeah, that I think kind of sets the stage for why I'm having as much trouble as I'm having with certain enemies. That sword specifically is very difficult to deal with without a ranged weapon of some sort. So, not impossible, of course, but where is this? What is this? Oh, can't quite go there yet. So I do love. This is also another reason why I like the chapel so much. The chapel is actually full of, like, I forget. There's an actual technical term for it, but it's sort of like leaving a breadcrumb trail for the player. You know, you're going and you're finding little side rooms, and oh wait, I can't get through here quite yet. Well, I wonder where that goes, and oh well, there's a switch, but I can't reach it. I wonder how I'll get around to reaching it. So this game is actually, for the dev team's first time at attempting, a kind of Metroid-esque open map design feel, they actually did a pretty damn good job, all things considered. Like, it's not nearly as sloppy as one might assume it would be for a first go at it. So I can't help but be slightly impressed, even now. After having played it a million times, it still strikes me as somewhat impressive that I can just kind of feel comfortable knowing, oh hey, I need to come back here later. This is really, really bad. Wow. I mean, I am just getting torn up. That helps, though. And also, too, there might be an explanation for that, possibly. As far as why I'm getting literally torn to pieces every time I come across, ooh, that's good. Torn to pieces whenever I come across enemies, and I think a lot of that has to do with my stat distribution, which, for the record, your base stats at the beginning of the game when you take control of Alucard are actually dictated by your performance as Richter in the opening Dracula fight. So, depending on how well you do based on variables that the designers have put into the game, Alucard will either start with kind of lowered stats, high stats, middle of the road stats. I forget. There's like a system involved with it. There's like a way of, like, it's like a mathematics thing. But needless to say, I think I got the shittiest end of that stick. So at least it damn well feels like I did. But I don't believe I've died yet, or have I? I don't think I have. I don't know. I don't think I did. And this, I think, is a boss. Should be, anyway. It is. It is. It's the Hippogriff. Okay, so, yeah. Blink and you miss him. That's... Oh, hey.
You look like you're doing well for yourself.
And? You didn't come here to flatter me.
True. Do you know the name Richter Belmont?
Belmont? Of course. Why?
He disappeared about a year ago. I'm sure he's here now. If you see him, please let me know.
As you wish, my lady.
A gentleman after all. Thank you.
So weird to me that whole exchange was barely even changed. I don't even know why they like, again, as I mentioned in the last video, you know, when the decision was made to port this to PSP with the Rondo of Blood remake, and they went back and retranslated all the dialogue. I understood that, and I understood that made more sense to just get new actors. But like, I hear stuff like that, I see line readings like that, and I think to myself, well, why bother? Why even have changed it? Because it's literally the same exact exchange as it was in the original release. So like, why? I think they may have changed like 2 or 3 words here and there. Like that was literally it. It was like a grammar change, if anything. Oy, I don't. Like I said, I don't necessarily have a problem with like the new voices or even the new written dialogue. Like I think it's all fine for what it is, but like between kind of crappier VAs, or rather crappier VA direction, and more importantly, whole sections of dialogue that are just literally untouched. I really do not see the. I just do not understand why they even bothered. To be honest. Oh, I hope that didn't make a huge popping noise. I just accidentally bumped my mic. Whoops. Really? Wow. Wow. Now, for those of you who are watching or have been watching and you're sick of the Jewel Knuckle, my plan is, at least by the end of this video, to have something that is at least comparable to it and not a knuckle. So, actually, let's just go ahead and check that now. Getting there, kinda. Kinda wish I could get a werebane to drop, but I really do not have all the time in the world to sit down and try to work with drop rate stuff. Which also, too, I guess at some point I might... I'm not really sure how I'm gonna handle that, because there's several really cool weapons that I do want to pick up in this playthrough, but like they require you to kill tons of like the same enemy over and over again, hoping that it'll randomly drop said weapon. So I don't know how much. I don't get the impression people really want to watch that, so I might have to do that in my free time somehow, but I don't know, because there's several weapons I do want to pick up, some of which I have never actually gotten in this game before. And so I would definitely very much like to do that, but at the same time, anybody who's watching, I don't want to bore you to tears with an hour of me literally just spam attacking one enemy until hopefully it drops that one item that drops with a drop rate of 1% or something like that. Probably didn't even have a percentage next to it. It's just like, what's the drop rate on this sword? 1. Oh. What? Oh, what is this? Turfing. Turfing? Turfing? Is that like a... Turfing. Is that like a... Is that like an actual, like, mythological... I need to start Googling this stuff, maybe. Or somebody could just leave a link in a comment. But, I don't know, is that supposed to be... That's a named sword, so it's either a sword of myth or, God forbid, like a Lord of the Rings sword. Because I know there's a couple of them in this game, actually. Couple of weapons that are named... that are literally ripped directly from the Lord of the Rings, and I think the Hobbit, so... Why? We may never know. I assume some of the devs must have been Tolkien fans. That's my only real educated... Oh yes, there we go. So that was a leap stone. I don't even think I need to go in the menu. I think it's pretty obvious, self-evident what it is. It's a double jump. That's very helpful. Yay! Well, I guess I need to hop back up there, though. I can't get back in if I can't. Oy vey. Well, I guess I'm... Oh, I know where I need to go now. Okay. Because I am done here for now. And that's the castle keep, by the way. That's where Dracula's throne room is. Except we can't get to it now because the stairwell that Richter used before is now demolished for whatever reason. And so, Alucard's got to find some new ways of getting up there. I believe we're about to find said new way of getting up there. Oh, go to hell. Oh, he just drops Cutlass. Okay. Fair enough. Wait, how much money do I have? Probably not enough. Hardly nothing. Damn. Wait. I think. Did I already get the? Oh no, I didn't. Okay. What to say? I knew there was something there I could use. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to think of like where my routing actually is at this point, because I know I'm going to this next area, because now I can actually traverse it, thanks to double jump. And then after that, I think... Ooh. I guess I would go there. We'll see. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, quite literally, in fact, in about... Oh... like 10 seconds. Well, a little longer than that, but... Whoa. So yeah, here's a clock tower. It's a clock tower. It's like a staple of every single Castlevania game ever. Every Castlevania that's ever existed basically has always had a clock tower. It's stage or map section. It's oh my god. This is why I need a sword. What the hell? Am I like glitched into the wall? What is this? This is bullshit. Okay. I don't want the wafer. Oh my god. Whatever. I'm stuck with it, I'm stuck with it. You know, actually, it occurs to me, part of my problem, I don't know this for sure, because I'm not really sure how, like, I know how the leveling system works, honestly, but I'm not really sure how the game is actually balanced around said leveling system. My wildest guess is that it's not. But I'm only level 17, and I feel like I should maybe be slightly higher level. Maybe that would explain some of the issues I've been having with just sheer amount of damage taken. And also, if you're wondering what I'm doing, there is a secret room I am trying to unlock, and it involves these dumb gears. Okay, I think we're good. We are good. Okay. This room right here, in fact, where I can get a steel helm, a gold plate, and a star flail. I think the star flail is finally... No, god, son of a bitch. Really, really don't want this damn thing anymore. I do want that, though. What else did I get? That's better. That's slightly better. Okay. Oh, also, just a fun fact, Alucard's cape. There are like several capes throughout the game you can get. This is the only piece of armor, if I'm not mistaken, sans one, and if we get it, I will explain how it works. This is the only piece of armor, or the only armor, equipable armor, that makes any actual physical difference to Alucard's sprite. In this case, the cape, depending on which one you have equipped, it'll be a different color, or it'll have a different design on it or something. You know, honestly, I'm just gonna give it a shot. I know it's a little worse, but I don't know. Which is not to say I don't like it. I genuinely like the star flail. It's pretty cool. I'm just not really seeing the practical application of it. Well, now I do. Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it for a bit. And also, the Fleaman can get armor. Which I always thought was kind of neat. Kind of an interesting iteration on the Fleaman design, because they're just basically just little tiny dudes who hop at you, but now they give them armor. Oh my god. Die. I'm not gonna lie, I might try. What? What? The hell? You're not supposed to respawn like that. I mean, they respawn, but only after you've left the room? The hell was that about? God damn this! Oh my god! Damn, this port is very finicky. To say the oh my god, he just. Huh. That's new. I don't remember that being the case in the PlayStation game, because usually, like, if you want enemies to respawn, unless they're like infinitely respawning enemies like ghosts or something, usually you have to actually exit the room, then return to the room, and then they'll be, you know, they'll load them back in. But this is kind of unprecedented. I don't know what to think right now. Oh, this is a weird port. I keep bumping into stuff I'm not qualified to even discuss because I've never known about them. Oh, come on, dude, come down. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm not actually level grinding. I'm actually trying to attempt this particular enemy drops a pretty cool sword. If I can get him to drop it, that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, if he will drop it. If I remember correctly, though, it's a fairly rare drop, so I'm gonna keep going a couple more times, and then it's enough. And meantime, I guess I'll level up a little bit. That's helpful. Oh, ow. Damn. Damn, he hits like a truck. I don't like that. Hey, at least the music's awesome, thank God. Even though I'm certainly not. Okay, we need to use this immediately. That might be our sign, in fact, to just let this one go. Like I said, when it comes to like farming these enemies and stuff, I might do that in my free time, just to save anybody viewing this the pain of like watching somebody do the same thing over and over again for like 10 straight minutes, because it's not that great. I will take that. That is better than the wafer stuff. Okay. So here we go. We got Sword Lord. It's one of my favorite enemies in the game, especially when he does this. Turns into a Vandal Sword. Admittedly, though, that is not how he originally sounds. Again, some of these sound changes are just puzzling. Because it's similar to what he used to sound like, but it's different. Like, it's as though they just really just wanted to. What has to be different? The new release of the game, it's gotta be different. Not gonna lie, this flail is pretty badass, actually. Like, it's not quite as strong as the Jewel Knuckle, but good lord, is it's possible. Like, I'm assuming its DPS is just better. And you can swing it a lot faster. It's got a lot of good range on it. It's healing mail. What does this do? Nope. It'll be like every 200 steps you get 5 HP, maybe. Well, I don't know. Also, you gotta love the little statues in the background telling you how to approach this little room. As though it's difficult, because it's really not. Wow. It's not really that difficult until you know, do what I just did and completely miss a jump. That's gonna bode well for one of the areas in this game, I'm sure. So, okay, what we got? TNT. Waka knife. What is that? Looks like a shoryuken. Or shuriken. Shuriken? Keep wanting to call it. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. It's a shuriken. Not reuse uppercut, but a shuriken. So yeah, hopefully everybody is having a great Friday, by the way. Well, I think I did mention yesterday, the game's not exactly hard. It's actually something I read at one point, and I don't remember where I read it. I don't know if it was, I'm assuming it was online somewhere. I guess it was somebody, a player of the game or something, and they were talking about the boss design of this game. And the argument was that, well, this person was making was, well, the boss design in this game is actually really good. The problem is that the majority of the bosses don't actually get to start their AI, like their AI cycle before you've already killed them. Like so like with that boss just now, he literally got to do nothing. I didn't let him do anything. And he actually has a lot of really cool moves he does. He like shoots crows at you. He's got like some projectile shit he does. It's really neat if he actually ever gets his cycle started, because more often than not what happens is you just run in, start tearing into him, or for that matter most if not all of the bosses in this game, and then from there it's kind of game over for him. So I don't know, it's a really, again, it's a very, this game has a lot of weird quirks to it, that being one of them most certainly. Doesn't make it a bad game, mind you. It just I don't know, it just severely limits one's approach to the game in many respects, because I mean all you gotta really do is just, I mean, you're just basically brute forcing your way through most of the bosses. I don't, I'm trying to think of any of the, well, there's a few like there's a few late game bosses that are actually like kind of somewhat difficult actually. And not just because, oh, their cycles get started, like they're genuinely difficult boss fights. They've got some clever mechanics behind them. But the early game stuff, especially in this section of the game, it's just it's pretty bad. You know, it's exactly what you just saw. But it occurs to me, I've actually got at least one more thing I can do before I get to the main next area I want to get to. And that is, I gotta go to the library. Which, I mean, really, to be fair, I know what a library is anyways. I've been to one before. I can't really speak for everyone, but I know I've been to them. And this is wrong. I don't want to go here. I've already been here. I want to go to the library. That's down. Lord. Sorry. That's me trying to go on autopilot and failing. Yeah, it's way down. Okay. I can take the elevator, though. I gotta say, though, this game actually, all things considered, this game actually holds up pretty well visually. I gotta say, it does not look bad for its age. I mean, as long as you can get past the whole kind of clashing aesthetics of all the different 2D models and stuff. But I mean, even then, it all mostly works. It's just occasionally you get some of them that look a little shittier than the others, but also I need to comment on that, because we've gone through several of these transition rooms numerous times now, and I'm sure somebody somewhere has probably noticed that there is a giant CD right there in the center of the screen. You know, it's like a little emblem. To explain these rooms, yes, these are transition rooms. This sort of like is a thing in all of the sort of Metroid-y Castlevania games now. But the reason it exists in this game is that this is actually a loading screen. To kind of keep the game somewhat seamless, and you know, to kind of make it to where you weren't constantly being hit by a now loading screen every 5 or 10 minutes. The developers basically programmed these rooms to be a kind of CD track. You could almost think of it as like a CD track change, is what it really is. But of course now it's kind of pointless because you know, video games don't really work that way anymore. They kind of do, but they kind of don't. It's weird. But like loading times like that aren't as common as they used to be. I know they still exist, but like they're not quite as egregious, and developers don't necessarily have to be as clever about them, I guess. Well, they still can be, but I mean, really. Because as a kid, because here's my thing, every time I saw, and this is why I explained this, because when I first played this game and I got to my first transition room and saw the CD, I, being the logical child that I was, I thought it was an acronym for Count Dracula. It never occurred to me that there's literally a picture of a CD right on top of the letters CD, and I never really quite put the 2 and 2 together somehow, but I was convinced for several years that meant Count Dracula, because we're in Dracula's castle, silly. But no, it's compact disc. Yes. So, guess there's my little embarrassing fragment of fact for the day. Jared used to be kind of dumb, or at the very least, like overthought things way too much. Oh. Give me that money. Wait. I think I might be able to use this trick here. Hold on. Ah! Ah! So close. Okay, hold on. I don't think that's... damn it. There's a way to do this, and I know there is, because I've seen people do it, but well, I take that back. I'm really trying to, never mind, I don't even have to do that, thank God. I keep trying to do that with a dog, but I think the trick I'm trying to do actually involves the form of mist. Same basic concept, but I'm using the wrong transformation. Or rather, I'm using a transformation in lieu of the one I should, because I don't have it. Oh, also, again, wait. There we go. Alucard's a classy dude. Boom, stone mask. Boom, secret door. Always thought this was neat. Really, really cool. This game has a lot of really cool uses of 3D. I gotta say, there's a lot of really cool little 3D elements that rear their heads throughout the game, and I love all of them. I mean, look at that. That's so cool. That's so neat to me. And the weird thing is, it's like, it's not totally seamless, but it really doesn't stick out. That's what always impresses me the most. Stuff like this, like, I know, like, I always thought Final Fantasy VII, for instance, had that problem where they'd, like, try to transition between the 3D models and the pre-rendered backgrounds, and sometimes it just looked really garish and like, ooh, that's rough. Whereas this, it's like the 3D with the 2D, it all just kind of, it all works. It may not be perfectly seamless, but damn it, it works. Okay, I think I'm about to come up to another boss here. In fact, I am about to come up to another boss here. This one, well. Well. I guess I could have tried to go for a no-hit run on that. That might have been more impressive, but frankly, no. No, it ain't worth it. But that was a lesser demon. He'll show up later, don't worry. You'll actually get to see what he does. Beyond just his projectile spam. Because he does a lot more than just that. And that's that for that. Okay. Oh, I have 2 Takemitsus. Wow. That's right. So... Trying to think now. Because off the top of my head, I can only really think of one more spot, like one more area I can actually get into legitimately. And it's not terribly far away, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Making pretty good time, actually. I think. Maybe what I'll do... I'm trying to think how I'll do this. I guess I will at least get to the area. I'll try to do something similar as I did last night with the chapel. Get to the chapel and leave you with a impression of what's coming up next. Is this the right way? No, it's not. God, Duron. Don't think that's the actual. I don't think that's the correct spelling of that. Believe that's supposed to be a Delahan, which is that's a Scottish folktale, I believe. Scottish folk ghost. I don't know how they got Duron out of Delahan, but I don't know. Their books must have been really, really janky. Whatever they pulled that from. Maybe they had like a bug copy of Encyclopedia Britannica. That'd be my only real guess. Like where every other word's a typo. Or maybe Duron's an actual thing. I've just never heard of Duron. And it's very clearly a Delahan. It's a warrior whose head is missing, who's holding his head. I mean, that's straight up Delahan. So I don't know. Let's go up real quick. Really trying to... Now, normally this is the part of the game where somebody who's never played it before would be staring at this map and getting really pissed at it and saying, okay, now where the fuck do I go? I've literally been everywhere I can technically get to. I can't think of anywhere else to go. But as a matter of fact, there are a couple there are a couple different paths I can take here. One of which, actually, there's probably 3, but I'm not entirely sure how I would go about getting to the path I'm thinking of. I think it's technically possible, but I don't know how you would get through the area in question without specific specific sets of equipment. But, ah, hell. Okay. So... oh, gotta go this way anyway, so I might as well. Count Dracula. That's just the dumbest thing, and I don't understand why that... I don't understand how the design allowed for that, but it's just really stupid that you can just... you can literally go from Alucard to Sonic the Hedgehog in like 2 seconds. It's just so dumb. But actually, admittedly though, this double jump does open up quite a few different little spots. Like, the weird thing is about the double jump in this game, by the time you actually get it, it's not even really so much about getting to new areas, except for the clock tower. But it's really more just about going back to previous areas and finding like little corners you couldn't get into, or oh hey, I couldn't quite reach this earlier, now I can. So it's less of a, I don't know, it's, I mean really it's strictly speaking, it's more like a tool than it is like a traversal ability, frankly. Because it feels way more situational than you would think of for a double jump. Oh. Wow, I can't platform worth a shit anymore. Don't know why. Let's see. Okay. Dead. Dead. Again, if I could control the in-game volume like I would like to, I wish I could, because any headphone users out there, I really apologize. This game is not the friendliest to you. Like, every other enemy has to make some ear-piercing, horrifying noise when it dies, so... sorry. Oh, hell. That's not good. I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm poisoned, but I'm, like... fairly high... well, not high level, but I'm high enough level where it doesn't matter with these enemies. Ah, shit. Lord. There. I did one room that way. I'm happy. And now hopefully nobody asks me to do that anymore. Not that anybody asked me to begin with, but I was afraid that at some point somebody might actually mention, like, oh, you know you can do a shield dash, like, Then again, though, I do find myself doing that out of habit more often than not. It's kind of like when I play, anytime I've ever played like the 3D Zeldas, I'm always rolling. There's no real reason to. I don't think you get any kind of benefit from it, but I'm always rolling in Zelda games when I can. If they give me the option, that's it. I'm rolling. So I guess it's kind of a similar thing to that, where I can just bye. I don't know, though. If you ever want to see that being done ridiculously, in a ridiculously efficient but funny way, I don't know, if you want to see that, you can always, like, just look up any, like on YouTube, go look up any sort of, like, Symphony of the Night speedrun. You will see it's literally just this the whole way through for, like, 5 minutes. It's just, that's all it is. Alright. Now we can finally talk about this dude. Now, his name is Cthulhu, or Cthulhu, or however you say it. Cthulhu. But that was clearly not Cthulhu, if you're familiar at all with his the general design of that character. that is actually the result of a translation error. That's well, not even a translation error, a localization error. Somebody, I guess, when everything was like organized to be translated, the wrong name got attached to the wrong creature. So that thing I just killed that is named Cthulhu in this game, every other time he's shown up after, he is actually known as Pazuzu, which incidentally is, I don't know if that's an actual demon mentioned in in demonic text, but Pazuzu is the demon that possesses Reagan in The Exorcist, so it's kind of like a weird film reference. The actual well, that one, no, that's, well, yeah, no, it's called Pazuzu in a couple of the games, but it's got another, I think it's also called Malachi in some of the other games as well. But later on in this game, we're going to come across what was supposed to be called Cthulhu. And it's going to be very obvious that it's Cthulhu. Like, the enemy, it's very clearly designed to be Cthulhu. Again, it's just a little localization mix-up. It happens. You see it a lot in games from this era. I think it was, yeah, it was Tim Rogers at Kotaku.com. He's got a whole series of videos talking about Final Fantasy VII's localization. It's actually a fascinating series of videos. I would heartily recommend checking it out. But he kind of goes into detail as to how certain localization errors kind of get past the localizers. It's actually it's surprisingly informative. Really gives you a lot of appreciation for what localization teams do, because it's a lot more than just literally translating the text. It's a lot more than that. But yeah, so this game, actually though, in all honesty, besides the Pazuzu / Malachi Cthulhu issue, this game really does not have a lot of localization issues that I'm aware of. Even its original release didn't, as far as I can remember. It might have been a little, the translation may have been a little iffy. But actually, here's a funny fact. I double-checked this morning, because I wanted to sort of give it a mention last night, but I wanted to make sure I had my sources correct. But it turns out, well, okay, give it a little context. If you know Konami during the PlayStation era, more than likely, if you're at all interested in the localization of Konami games of this era, games like Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, stuff like that, you're probably familiar with a name by the name of Jeremy Blaustein. He was a localizer, translator, Q&A guy for Konami for a long time. He'd been there all the way back with, I want to say one of his first titles he did. I think he did the English localization of the Saturn release of Snatcher, which is really cool to think about. More I think on that. But Jeremy Blaustein, he did the translation, he did the localization for Metal Gear Solid. So the English script, he actually took Hideo Kojima's Japanese script, translated it to English, and then gave it to the English VA, and that's what they performed in Metal Gear Solid. And he actually did the translation to this game too. He actually did all of the spoken dialogue. At least in the original PlayStation release, it was Jeremy Blaustein who localized all the dialogue in this game. And I thought he did a really good job, because he really gave it this weird, I don't know, he made it, I believe I read an interview or listened to a podcast interview with him, and he talked about this, and he said that he wanted to try and keep the, he wanted to make it to where it fit, like in terms of the historical accuracy of the time that this game takes place. He wanted the characters to talk that way, and he's like, in the Japanese script really didn't have that. It was kind of more anime-ish, and he wasn't really a fan of that, so he kind of took some creative liberties and made them talk, like in the original PlayStation game, what is a man? Miserable little pile of secrets, like that kind of thing. That's all Jeremy Blaustein, so kudos to him for having faith in his own odd approach. Okay. So I've lied. I think I'm actually hitting a perfectly good stopping point because I've hit a switch, something has opened up, and in the next part, we'll go to where it opened up. We'll see what we found. But hopefully you've enjoyed watching this. I'll be back again for part 3 in the very near future. Thank you for watching. You know, leave any comments or questions or concerns on the bottom of the page by all means. Free range. Bye.